Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of our program. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle. Today we have with us Andreas Jones, who is author of Business Leader Combat. Welcome to the program, Andreas.
Hey, thank you for having me, Mike.
Hey, so give us a little background of yourself and your business and what brought you to write this book, and then how it can help business owners.
Hey, absolutely. So a little bit about myself. I am a Army veteran. Served 9 years in the Army. I did a tour in Afghanistan, Iraq. Got out of the Army, started my corporate career. I was doing well at a company and got let go, and that frustration, kind of guided me into business and entrepreneurship. And so from about 2012, I've been, working on my business, trying to grow it properly. And I've learned a lot of lessons along the way, and that's what I kind of share in my book, Business Leader Combat. Also from a military perspective on how my military training has helped me to adapt to the business world. There are a lot of similarities in how we approach things in the military and in the business world. So I used basically my experiences around the military and how being able to adjust and adapt to ever-changing situations that help me to not only stay in business, but also, having a steady growth of my business year over year.
I read a book called, why is the name leaving me? But it's a book on fighter pilot jets that came out and from the military, and they used the military background to take those principles, the pre-flight checklist and the post-flight, and apply those to business. And I'm just thinking that you tie that concept along with some of the statistics and research that we hear that so many of the top producing CEOs out there have a military background. And so I'm assuming and thinking that you would be taking those kind of concepts and just saying, you don't need to wait to be CEO of a major multinational corporation. You can use these same things in your business. Absolutely.
That's right on point, Mike.
And I just remember the name of that book, Flawless Execution. Have you ever heard of that one?
Yes. It was an Air Force pilot.
Yeah, I really like the concept. So what are one or two of the main concepts that you talk about that from a military background that a business owner, even a small business owner, can implement into their business?
And so one of the big things that I used was what I talk about in the book is how to use strategic, operational, and tactical intelligence to strengthen your business in the short term and the long term. And basically, that means that you're working towards your strengths. You're using you're systemizing, you're optimizing your processes to assist you in achieving your business goals and vision. And so strategic is your planning and your goals. Operational is how the systems and your resources, your staff, and the tactical is how you go about approaching your business day in, day out. And, intelligence is, getting as much information as you can about the market, especially for someone who is starting a business. You want to kind of do market research before you start. Starting a business is one thing. Staying in business is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure there's profitability in your market you're trying to penetrate. You want to make sure you want to know who the players are in that market. You want to just know what the barriers of entries are.
You're talking about research, and I know that I was consulting for the Small Business Development Centers a few years ago, and that's a big piece of what any business starting off writing that business plan is. You got to find that research, and it's if you're going to open up a retail location, it's all about location, and there's some really powerful softwares out there. One is called Ibis World, where you can put in a lot of the things you're looking for in a business and come up with where people are in that area, for geographically, demographics, psychographics. Have you found some of those types of tools to be valuable when you combine those techniques together in what you recommend in your book?
Yeah, absolutely. So absolutely it's about doing the pre-work. And, normally what happens is, someone has an idea for a business, they get excited, get the jitters, and, they're trying to form LLCs and trying to do everything. And never forget this key piece that, it's great to have an idea, but how does it translate in the market? Is there an appetite for it in the market? Are you entering the market at the right time? Because the object is not, it's not to that 80% of businesses that fail within the first 2 years. I mean that's a sad number for me. That really bothers me, and that's why I kind of wrote this guide to assist small business owners, because just thinking about it, if someone has an idea, has a dream of opening their business, and in 2 years it fails. So like in 2015 there was about 10,000 LLC applications that went into the state of Georgia. And, me just looking at it, I was like, wow. So you're telling me that 8,000 of those applications, those businesses are going to fail in the next 2 years? Yeah. Something's kind of wrong with that picture,
And that was in what time frame?
And that's 10,000 last year, 2015.
Okay, so 10,000 in that year. Yeah, that's a really eye-opening statistic, and I think that the problem is too many people get enamored with go to this weekend seminar and learn how to start your own business, and that is true. These days you can compete globally with your website and social media and setting up your shopping carts and all of these things that give business owners these tools, but the problem is if you don't have that foundation in that business plan and that research done and have some strategic alliances set, you really are going to be part of that 80%. So let's say that a business does that research and planning. What do you feel like are some combat military-based principles that will help them stay on target and focused?
So I think the first thing, you got the foundation right. Then you got to figure out your plan of attack. How are you entering the market? Are you going to enter the market as a solo? Are you going to have partners kind of promoting you? Say, welcome this new guy to the market. Are your products speaking to your customers? And do you know who your ideal customer is? And so all of those questions are things that need to be answered before you hit the switch to go on. And another important part is that what is your business model? Is your business model congruent with your business vision and your goals? So if you're looking to serve 100,000 customers, does your business model support you serving 100,000 customers as a one-man shop? So
that's a really good point. And I interviewed a guest last week who started a cleaning business, window cleaning business in, I believe it was Michigan or some just normal old state, grew it really rapidly and sold it, and then moved to Costa Rica. And now he works with businesses online to help them automate and outsource and put processes in their business. And I think that there's too many business owners that are chief cook and bottle washer and think that they have to do it all because they want to save a penny or two, or they are control freaks and don't trust other people to do something that they could do themselves. But I think that once people realize that, and you've probably heard this calculation before, what did you make last year? How many hours did you work in a normal week? And what's your hourly rate? And if the business owner realizes their hourly rate is X, should they be the one taking out the trash or doing this clerical work, or should they hire someone at $10, $15 an hour and let you free yourself up to do some of those higher value tasks?
Absolutely. I mean, there You get college interns, get them job experience. There's a lot of different ways you can approach it without breaking the bank. So you just have to be strategic in your approach to get out that 80%. It's doable, and business is a great adventure. Is a noble adventure, but you have to do it right.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So, what are some other thoughts that you have? What's a big pain point that you see businesses have that they need to address so that they're not part of that 80%?
Another big part of that is when you look at a lot of failures in small businesses, is you look at leadership. You look at the person in charge. Is a person operating at his full potential? So I had this client the other day, and he talked about growing his business, and we're talking about growing his. He wants to 10x his business profits. I was like, okay, so can you 10x your business on a 1x mindset? Isn't that contradicting?
Mm-hmm.
So in order for you to 10x the business, you have to 10x your potential also. You have to 10x your creativity. You have to 10x your productivity. And so a lot of the work has to be done with the owner to make sure they're on top of their game, to make sure they're optimal. We could have the U.S. military. We're one of the most technologically advanced military in the world, but none of technology is relevant if we don't have trained soldiers operating at optimal performance levels each day on and off the battlefield, doing those preparations, getting their make sure they're shooting correctly, making sure they are doing their intelligence reports, making sure they themselves are in physical shape to be able to handle the battlefield. And it might not be running 5 miles in the morning for a business owner, but are you growing your mindset? Are you learning new strategies to become better? You can't, if you open your business in 2015, what you used to be successful in 2015 is not necessarily going to get you success in 2016, because a lot has changed. Technology has changed. The market has changed. The consumers are changing because they're getting smarter. They have access to more information. So how do you now present your product to them to solve their problem? And so a lot of that work the owner has to do within themselves to get their mindsets, to get their inner work going, so they can in turn apply those strategies that's going to help them grow their business.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point about what worked in 2015 won't work in 2016, and I would say that an aspect needs to be kept in mind of staying abreast of new things that work, but with a filter and a filter on those things of not to get caught up in shiny object syndrome.
Oh, absolutely.
You can try something and try something and try something, and you never try it long enough to give it a chance to work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's a slippery slope to go down, and that has to be framed.
Mm-hmm.
In the context of what works in 2015, what works in 2016, that has to be framed. That you're not just trying everything that comes new to the market. You have to be strategic.
And another thing is with technology. Technology is wonderful, but I think that it needs to be used in balance from the perspective of this. Some of the basics, the foundational basics, the blocking and tackling, just the basics of business need to be in place. And for instance, someone should never hide behind their computer and blog and social media post and send emails and never get out and about and meet with your clients and prospects and community and networking. You should use the technology to enhance those things or to stimulate that meeting or phone call. But I think that you need to have some of those basics in place. What are some of the things that a business just has to do, must do to be successful? And some of the famous motivational speakers out there will say success leaves clues. So if you see someone else in your space that is doing something well and you see that they're out there doing whatever, XYZ, activities, maybe you should be doing it in your part of the country because it worked for someone else in their part of the country.
Absolutely. Just make it relevant to you. So, I mean, you don't have to do the exact same thing that I'm doing, but look at the results that person is getting and say, okay, well, what are they doing to get that result? How can I use that framework to reach my customers? Because then you might not necessarily have the same customers, might not be in the same market, but you can the concepts and the strategies are stand true. And so a lot of the time, you can with business owners, they get so overwhelmed with they build a business backward in the sense that they're so focused on getting the product out, and they start out with 10 customers, and they give those 10 customers excellent service, FaceTime, access to them, and then as the business growing, they're disappearing. Like the customers. Yep. The customers still need that personal factor, and I think one of the things that made Apple so successful is that at those conferences there is always a CEO out there giving the conference. Steve Jobs didn't need to do that. He has all these engineers and tech wizards to do all that, but the people want to see the face of the company.
Yeah,
you have to touch your customers where they are. You have to reach out to them.
Yeah, that's a super good point. Is be that face of the company, be visible, have that brand voice. Whether it's are you going to be the casual, goofy voice like some brands, like for instance the Dollar Shave Club, they're famous for their viral videos that are kind of edgy, but yet that approach would not work for a CPA firm, because you want your CPA to be very buttoned up and not too casual about your financial situation. So I think you've got to know what your focus is and what your target audience wants to deliver it to them. But yeah, that's a really good point. Hey, so any final thoughts here, and what is the best way for people to learn more and find out about your book?
They could visit businessleadercombat.com. Set it up for your listeners. Get a free copy today, Mike. So they just go to Business Leader Combat, download a free copy.
Super. Well, thank you for your time. It was great talking with you, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you very much, Mike. It was great being here.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.